And today we will listen to Chalmers and Intertanko. And our first speakers are Lars Axby and Staffan Strive. And you will talk about MRM BRM ERM Model course. What's new and where are we going? And Lars, you work at Chalmers University Technology. And I guess most of you know what you do. But Staffan, you work at Chalmers Professional. What are you doing?
Good morning, gentlemen and girls. Chalmers Professional is the company within Chalmers University, putting together courses and sell them to the market. So that is mainly what we do. Marketing, selling, and giving the courses together with all the institutes in Chalmers. We're going to take you to a short trip. And Lars, it's nice that we could be here. Nice that you are here. Can you describe what you do actually every day at Chalmers?
Yes, at Chalmers we do a lot of shipping-related activities within our department called Mechanics and Marine Sciences. And that is, of course, one of the major things is the training for master mariners, engineers, etc. But we also do research into those areas. That means shipping-related activities, but also combustion design, combustion engines, material production, etc.
The headline of today is MRM BRM ERM and Model courses. Can you I know many of you in the audience don't know exactly what it means. Can you shortly describe the difference between all these figures?
Yeah. Resource management is a topic that kind of entered the maritime industry in the 90s. And in the IMO, in the 95, 97, they started discussing human element. And what we are doing in resource management is that we are looking into more the non-technical skills.
Okay. And are there any specific rules and regulations that you work on and concentrate to follow, or can you set it up by yourself?
Yes. So when the STCW Manila amendments came into force, then we introduced bridge resource management and engine room resource management as mandatory for all seafarers. Many seafarers had already taken those courses, but now it became mandatory. But you also see the MRM acronym, and that is Maritime Resource Management. And that is Swedish club. They've been into this for quite a long time. We are also training on license on the Swedish club. And with that acronym, we kind of would like to embrace not only the bridge or the engine room officers, but the shipping industry as a whole.
I see. And what surprises a little bit, and what is the industry as ex-personnel manager, I'm a little bit confused about why isn't it one only standard when it comes to this in this shipping industry? Do you have an answer to that?
It's not really a very easy question to answer, but there are demands from different entities within the industry. You all know here, maybe from the tanker industry, that OKIMF, they have requirements of training. Could be resource management training, but it could also be bridge team management, which is a bit more technical course. And we see other customers, especially within the oil industry, putting kind of demand on training demand on the companies. And I think that is one explanation why we see a little bit of difference within the industry, that it's not only STCW that governs this, but also demands from different parts within the industry. That could be one explanation, I guess.
And you are able to come up and cope and solve these demands?
We try to, I think, I hope.
Okay.
Trying to meet the requirements that our customers have. But I mean, the base for us is, of course, STCW, and from that we kind of build and and yeah, make that. Yeah, you could say that.
You mentioned the Swedish club earlier, and me myself, I was one of them passing these model courses at Flight Academy back in I think '93 or something. Then you understand how old I am in this shipping. But can you give a short description what have happened with these model courses from back the old days until today?
Well, if we talk about the Swedish club, or what we today refers to the All Academy, the training material kind of looks the same, but how you then present it, that differs around the world. But we are looking into the topics, the areas within these human element training, as we would like to call it. But since I think many in the audience have, as you, already taken that courses, when we had reoccurring training, we were experienced that many of our customers, they were coming in and they were saying, are you still doing this? And that was kind of the starting point. And now we're talking about 8 years ago when we kind of started a transformation of that training and kind of built our own material on how to highlight these questions.
So when you mentioned you build your own material, so do you do that in cooperation with the shipping companies? Do they have any influence on what can be put into the scheme in the course?
Yes, of course. We really try to keep a close connection to the companies so that it really are, so it will be fruitful for them.
And for me, being an ex-captain, I would not love to go to school and sit in the bank for 3 days, 4 days, or 5 days. Do you use simulators in your courses today to make it more like reality?
Yes and no, you could say. It depends on what the customer wants. But we think simulators are one good tool to illustrate some of the topics that we are discussing. But at the same time, it will also give us the opportunity to actually focus on the combination of technical and non-technical skills, which is important, I guess, in this complex world. What we kind of heard also speeches during the opening ceremony, they kind of refer to shipping being a very complex industry, and in the forefront of that complexity is actually the people on the ships dealing with that. They have the operational impact, so they have to be able to handle that complexity. So that makes use of simulation quite fruitful, because it really puts focus on both technical and non-technical skills.
Okay, I seem to get a picture, but having done this trip from the old days with the model courses, and you work together with the shipping companies and try to tailor-made the courses, and you have been doing this for such a time. Do you have any examples of success stories that you can share with us?
I guess you have to go to the companies to ask them about the success, but
I will later on. I will find them.
But yes, we've had some companies, and right now we're actually in the process of training all Stena Line officers, about 230 officers coming from different parts of Europe. And well, it remains to be seen if this will turn into a success. But let me make it very clear that it's the course itself will not make any difference if it's not related to other activities within the company. So the course itself is not a standalone thing. That will not change very much. I think the buyer has to understand that they have to engage in other activities to reach that goal, whichever goal they are looking for.
And that brings me back to what you mentioned earlier. You are able to tailor-made the courses, in this case, together with Stena, what they would like to have, what they want, and still cope with the regulations you are able to follow with the BRM MRM course.
Yes, and I think that's quite important that you really, I mean, in this example, Stena Line is as you all know, a ferry company dealing with short sea voyages and the same route back and forth, and that's one special circumstance which maybe some of the oil companies do not have, but they have different needs, and that we have to address.
So you are able to make tailor-made courses also for the oil tanker shipping companies and so? Is that so?
Yes, we are able to do that. But again, when we are doing that, we need close cooperation with the company in order to understand what are their needs.
Okay.
Of course, we can just throw them a course, but that's not how we work. We would really like to... No. We're in this because we want to make a change. We want to improve safety on board. So that's why we're in it.
Sounds interesting. And I have one question. Maybe you will have... Maybe it's difficult to answer. But as an ex-personnel manager, I would ask you, is it possible to measure the result of these courses? Is it possible at all?
It is a difficult question. Yes, it's possible. We are doing that a little bit, but again, it's the need has to come from the customer if we're going to measure it. We are constantly looking for possibilities to kind of make a research into this. It's been done some research into the effects of resource management training, but that is mostly in the airline industry, in the space industry, but also in medical services. But not that much have been made into research the effects of resource management training in the maritime industry. So we're eager to start that up, but it kind of, we need then something to...
You mentioned earlier when we talked about this that you are doing some kind of research with these Stena courses. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes, with the Stena course, as the 230 or so officers coming in, we give them a questionnaire. We will do that before they run the course. We will do that after a period and then again coming back. So it will be kind of a long-term study where we're trying to look at the effects on if this training, but also the other things that Stena Line is doing in order to kind of increase the operational safety on board, if that is getting somewhere.
That's some kind of added value to these courses, if I put it that way.
I think that's the whole, I mean, that's what they want.
Very good. Being a seafarer, we all know that the most important person and the person on board who knows everything is the steward, the cook. But there are also in the engine department, there are very important guys and sailing down there. I haven't heard you mention anything, but if I get it right, ERM is standing for engine. Are you doing courses and with them involved as well?
Yes, we are, but it hasn't really kicked off, I would say. We have had a few courses, and some companies were actually sending both their engine and deck officers to the same course. That is, we found that quite fruitful. I think the companies found that quite fruitful as well. But when it comes to resource management, the objectives, the learning objectives of the course is the same for deck officers as for engine officers. So it's no difference. And this again, it really illustrates that this is not about technical stuff. It's not about the other things in STCW. This is about leadership, human element, decision-making, communication, etc. And that's the same. And while I'm at that, you mentioned the steward, but equally important is the involvement from the shore personnel, the M in maritime resource management. This is not just about the personnel on board the vessels. We kind of tend to do it that way, that we let the operational guys at the sharp end, let them do the course, and then it will be fixed. But we can see in this complexity that activities that are, or actions on shore in the company offices, they have strong connections to what is happening on board. So that indicates that these topics are important to embrace as a whole for the company.
But when you have discussions with the shipping companies, do you have any problems to get them involved and have the office management also involved in the courses in any way?
Yes.
There is? Okay.
Yes, but I think there is of course strong competition, and it's all our calendars are fully booked, so it's difficult to kind of, I think, for shore personnel to see that they should attend a course, especially when they're not part of the STCW, are they? No. So they really have to. They must want to take the course. So
that could be another seminar about the certificate for the shore-based shipping staff.
Could be.
That would be something, Luis. I don't think. But it was interesting to listen to Donsten earlier this morning when he opened the speak. He mentioned the cooperation between the onboard seagoing staff and also the office staff to be the success in order to run the ships in an environmental way. So that goes together with these MRM courses, if I get you right.
Yes, very much so.
Okay. So tomorrow at 10 there is a seminar about strengthening the collaboration culture. And you mean that this is what MRM are dealing with, is that correct?
Yes, very much so. It's about the culture within the company. It's about the kind of the soft or the, as I said before, the non-technical issues. And these are questions that they're really dealing with the whole company. So that more or less the same.
Okay. Gives a good picture, and I think I got a good picture of what you are dealing with, what MRM courses are about. And I hope that you, who are listening today and later on the TV, will be able to come and apply for the courses. You're welcome. Most welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for a very interesting presentation. And I wonder, I guess if you want to know more about these courses, we can always find you in your exhibition.
A53, you're most welcome.
Perfect. And I also wonder, are there any other place than in Gothenburg that you can find these type of courses in Sweden?
Well, in that case, I would recommend Chalmers. They are doing the courses and they are doing it very well and develop them in more or less the same way as we have done. Other places there are, but I think what we have heard from Lars, that the development of these courses have put the MRM thinking further ahead, many steps further ahead actually. So I think if you want to have the best, come to us on Chalmers.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Lars, and thank you very much, Staffan.
Thank you.